it's Doris with All the Books, and Shawn and I are here to discuss the next installment in the Faber Stories 90th Anniversary Editions. This is Terrific Mother by Lorrie Moore. Now, a little bit about Lorrie Moore. Very small amount. She got her master's from Cornell University, but prior to that, she was a published author. Yes. Probably before even starting her undergrad. She got published a short story called Raspberries in 17 magazine. Oh, bring me back all the memories. 17 magazine was the definitive reading material of a teen girl in the 1980s. I will definitely say 70s as well, probably 90s too. I'm not so sure about modern times, but I think so, yes. So yeah, that was so cool for me to read. I really loved it. Her short stories are described as poignant and humorous, and this is right smack in the middle of both of those things. So, opening page, she's holding a baby, her friend's baby, and in a freak accident through no fault of her own, the baby dies in her arms. Oh, I was kind of hesitant to read this story because I thought this was going to be too devastating for me to handle, but it's barely even covered, and then you're off and running with her, well, this is brief too, her 7-month stint in an apartment being antisocial with only her boyfriend keeping her company. And 7 months later, after post-accident, this is like the second page, he finally convinces her to marry him and start her life once more. So dark humor ensues. Case in point, page 10. This is just, a couple little sentences of dialogue to share with you. The monk man looked at her. "Are you one of the spouses?" "Yes," she said. She looked down, then back up, but then, "So is my husband." Yeah. Score for Lorrie Moore. I love it. So, there are lots of funny little quips like that in this story. I'm not so sure about the relationship where it's going, if I'm gonna like it overall, but I'm definitely here for the dark humor. Yeah, so I will keep you posted. Ironically, just weeks ago, I unhauled her Birds of North America short story collection that was published in 1998. I've heard that she writes mainly about contemporary relationship issues, and that's not really my forte. So we'll see. Maybe this short story will have me scouring the used bookstore to rehaul that book. So stay tuned.
Hey, Doris. Well, this is starting out the most excitingly for me of all of the ones I've read. I have such high hopes for where it's gonna go from here, but it has totally sucked me in. I loved what you said, and I appreciated the humor so much. And also, I have read Lorrie Moore's novella. Oh, it's not listed. The title's not listed here. What will they say at the Frog Hospital or something? I'm gonna put the GIF here. Something the Frog Hospital. I have a full review of it, which I will link in my show notes. I love that novella, so I recommend it to you. It is about the complicated, complex friendship between two high school friends and how that shapes their future adult lives. It's really, really good. I don't remember the humor. There must have been humor in it, but that's not my memory. But the humor in here, as you pointed out, was just wonderful. And it's the emotional undertow of the more serious bits that's also really working for me. So I'm later tonight I'm going to film my Sunday sentence, and one of them, because I couldn't just choose one this week, is from this story. It was the careless universe's work she was performing. Death, itchy and about, like a cop. Gah! And there's lots like that about the way that she has or has not yet recovered from the trauma of that tragedy. I am really curious about so many things. One of them is what's going to happen with this masseuse. Quite a bizarre, hilarious, and bizarre conversation they have on the phone when she's booking an appointment for Thursday. So I'm looking forward to finding out what happens Thursday. And yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with her new husband. That didn't sound like they were in a very good place relationship-wise. And my comments here are completely disjointed, but I also just loved the way she kept insulting the academics. I loved the parody of academia and how full of itself and pretentious and pedantic, and I loved the way she kept insulting all those professors. Looking forward to part 2.
Hey Shawn, I thought I would come to you from my front porch since my kid is gaming in the house, and I thought you might like to listen to our cicadas. And there's a little dog song as well, but you know, I mean, the birds, it's just a chorus. Anyway, this won't take long. I'm so sorry this has taken so long to get to you though. However, back to school, man. I started work on Monday, and you know how that is. I don't know if you know how that is, but when you've had some time off and then you got to go back, it's kind of exhausting and hard to stay on top of everything, but I'm getting in the groove. I think another week I'll be back to the new normal, or the old normal, whatever. Anyway, I don't have much to say about Terrific Mother by Lorrie Moore. I started off kind of like you, very engaged with that dark humor, and just surprised that she was able to carry off such an awkward situation. However, after we last talked, you know, I read another 10, 15 pages, 20. It's only a like 75 page little short story. I just realized that I was almost skimming the text looking for the funny bits and not really engaged with the story itself. So yeah, I feel like there were a lot of one-liners, a lot of zingers that were great, but overall the plot wasn't much of anything by the end. So it was fine. It was just kind of a 3-star. So curious to hear your take on it, and yeah, maybe we'll hear your cicadas sing and see who has. Ours aren't ramped up yet. I think maybe a little later on in the day they get louder. But anyway, take it away, Shawn, and Cicada's song.
I love you, Doris, but not enough to actually go outside on this, the hottest day of the year so far. But enough to lean my iPad out of the window to capture some of the cicadas. Hey, but as I think you know, I am scrambling to get out of town in about 24 hours. So, to quickly finish up, yeah, I think it worked a little better for me. I gave it 4 stars. And I actually reread, because it's been a while and I couldn't remember the exact ending. So I read that last confrontation that ended tearfully between them. I was more moved by it on a second reading than I was on the first. Still not a 5-star read for me, but I think it's very tricky to incorporate a really humorous sensibility alongside some very emotional, poignant plot material. And I'm not sure that she completely pulls it off. It's interesting, I was thinking as I reread it that both she and her new husband Martin were pretty distracted by that masseuse. And I think Lorrie Moore was a little too distracted by that masseuse. And the story kind of went... "Eh." So it didn't quite work. But I might suggest, Doris, just to go back and reread that last confrontation between them, because I found it... I just remember reading it and thinking, okay. And when I reread it today, I was pretty blown away by it. I just loved the writing. So, 2 sentences from that scene. Her rage flapped awkwardly away like a duck. And the longer one. She felt far away, as if she were back home, walking through the neighborhood at dinner time, when the cats sounded like babies, and the babies sounded like birds, and the fathers were home from work, their children in their arms gumming the language, air shaping their flowery throats into a park of singing. That's maybe my favorite sentence in the story, and neither of those sentences jumped out at me when I read it the first time. Gumming the language. That is just amazing. So, this was a qualified success for me. Looking forward to the next one.